Hi, I'm E.D. Lewis, and welcome back to my channel, E.D. Lewis Reviews. Back for another nocturnal review, and it's actually nighttime while I'm filming this, so, it's actually dark out, not that you can tell. But it is nocturnal. So, welcome back to my channel, and also, before we get started, please hit that like and that subscribe button and that little bell that lets you know when I have a new video up. Okay, so this is the first video of May. First one after Halfoween-a-thon, which I did not get to finish. I am still working on that book. I haven't gotten to read quite as much of late. Unfortunately, there was too many things that just kept getting in the way during Halfoween-a-thon, so the book kind of suffered. So I'm still working on that. That will be part of my Dracula reviews when I get to that episode. So also stay tuned for more Dracula reviews. Sorry, I can't say it. But this time around, I thought I'd go ahead and review an author I haven't reviewed for a little while. And also, I read this story for Halfoween-a-thon. Well, rather, reread it. I'd read it before. And I have to say, it's one of my favorite stories by H.P. Lovecraft. So, I'm reviewing The Outsider. Of course, this cover does not say The Outsider. It is, Waking Up Screaming, Haunting Tales of Terror by H.P. Lovecraft. Love Lovecraft and love his writing. This story, The Outsider, it's not a very long one. It's only about, 6, 7 pages, something like that. I think I'm in the wrong part of the book. I don't know what page it's on. I'm sorry while I'm just sitting here flipping through the book trying to find it. I'm not wearing my glasses because they look awful because I'm still in my work clothes. Well, okay, it doesn't matter. It's not a very long story, and it's one of his more Edgar Allan Poe type stories. It's one of his earlier works. It was published in 1926, and let me just tell you what the story is about. So, the story is about this unnamed character who lives in this castle surrounded by this forest that the trees are so tall that it blocks out the sunlight. So he basically lives in pretty much constant darkness. He is all alone. All he has is books and stuff to occupy himself, and these really tall towers that reach up to the sky. I jumped ahead in my sentence before I was ready. The castle has these really tall towers that reach up to the sky past the trees, is what I was trying to say, but it didn't come out. Sometimes what I am saying up here in my head doesn't always translate down here very well. So one day he's so tired of the solitary and stuff that he decides he's going to climb the tower and either make it to the top and actually see sunlight and see the world outside of the forest and the castle, or die in the attempt. So he's scaling the tower, and up through the trees, he still finds more trees, more darkness, more tower, until he finally reaches the top, when he finds a trap door. He opens this trap door, and he finds himself in what appears to be a graveyard. An old, a bunch of, tombs, mausoleums, headstones, and an old abandoned church. He ventures out into this world that is so foreign to him, and he hears people, and he's never heard the sound, or at least he can't remember hearing the sound of human speech before, so he's drawn to it. But what he finds is something that he never suspected in all his life to see. I'm keeping it vague because there's more to the story. There's bits and pieces I left out, but I just want to get you interested and kind of get you in the mindset of the story. It is a gothic tale, and it has so many elements to it, kind of, this abhumanness, this humanity becoming, something else. Starting out so human and yet becoming more monstrous. And it has themes of loneliness and solitary, as well as a bit of the underworld to it. I also kind of connect the story a little bit to H.P. Lovecraft himself, because when he was a child and he was living with his mother, I can't remember where they were living. I actually have seen this in a documentary on him, which I should review that documentary. It's an awesome documentary on him. That his mother actually would, when people would ask about him, I think it was, and, because they would hardly ever see him because she kept him so solitary and stuff, and he would, read a lot and stuff, and Edgar Allan Poe was his favorite. She would describe him as hideous and, ugly, and so he gradually started to think of himself as ugly and hideous looking. So that's kind of where I think that comes from, and I think he's putting some of him, his reflection of himself into the story The Outsider a little bit. So, and also he's a very solitary individual anyway, and so, the loneliness is a big theme there. But this is not a long review because it's a really short story, and I don't want to give too much away. So that is pretty much the gist of it. You can find it in probably many collections. I don't know if this book's still published or not. I was just at a bookstore yesterday because during the Halfoween-a-thon, since I've read, I completed a couple of books. They were graphic novels. I had earned, book allowance because of my book ban, and so I bought a book that I was seeking. And I did notice in the horror section of this bookstore that I went to, it was a new bookstore. It wasn't the local used bookstore that I like to frequent. And it wasn't in town. It was out of town. They had a couple of Lovecraft anthologies, and I can't remember if this was one of them or not, but the other one is one I have. And so I know it's still in print, but you can find it in Waking Up Screaming. So if you're looking for it then, there. But I'm pretty sure you can probably find it online because I think pretty much all his work is probably public domain. And there's many anthologies and collections of H.P. Lovecraft, so it's a really easy story to find. There are 2 film adaptations that I know of. They both have the same name, Castle Freak. The original one from 1995, directed by Stuart Gordon. I've never seen it. I actually almost got the opportunity once to see it, but I put the DVD down, the collection that had it, so I ended up not getting it and not seeing it. There is a remake that just came out last year, and it's out on video right now. I'm sure you can even stream it online, too, if you're into streaming. I'm not a big one with streaming, but I'll stream occasionally something. So you can see the newer version of that. I haven't seen either one. I probably should, since it is based off H.P. Lovecraft's work. And his work is a little hard sometimes to translate to film because of how he writes, or how he wrote. But anyway, do check out The Outsider. It is one of my favorite H.P. Lovecraft stories, and it's a really, really short read. Kind of like Dagon, except for Dagon is even shorter. I may do a review of it sometime, too, and talk about kind of a connection I make with it in a classic horror film that is not based off it. But anyway, so that is The Outsider. So do check it out, and I hope you're all having an awesome start to your month of May, and I hope everybody had a great May Day. If you did Star Wars Day, I hope you had a good Star Wars Day, and as well as Cinco de Mayo. And Mother's Day is just around the corner. It's this weekend, so celebrate mothers. Take your mothers out. Show them how special they are and how important they are. And with that note, I just have to say I'll see you next time, and do check out my Dracula review series. So, yeah, I'll see you next time right here on E.D. Lewis Reviews. Bye-bye.